Bitcoin. You hear that word everywhere, right? But it's usually wrapped up in a ton of hype, a lot of confusion, and some pretty wild myths. Our goal today? Simple. We're going to cut right through all that noise. All right, let's dive in and separate the facts from the fiction.
You know, if you've ever felt like Bitcoin is just too complicated, or maybe even a little sketchy, you are definitely not alone. It can seem really overwhelming, but that's what we're here for. We're going to break it down into simple, clear truths so you can see what it's really all about.
So, before we can even start busting myths, we've got to get on the same page. If you understand the basics, everything else just clicks into place. So let's start with the big one. What even is Bitcoin?
Okay, so at its heart, Bitcoin is basically digital money. But what really makes it special is this public list, what people call the blockchain, or the ledger. I want you to imagine a digital notebook that's shared with literally everyone in the world. Every single transaction gets written down there, right out in the open for anyone to see. And that radical transparency, that's the key to everything.
And making a transaction is way more straightforward than you think. It's really just 3 steps. 1, you decide to send some Bitcoin. 2, a massive global network of thousands of computers all work together to confirm that your transaction is legit. And 3, the other person receives it. That's the entire process, all powered by this worldwide community.
Okay, now that we've got the basics down, let's get into the fun stuff. Let's tackle our first big myth. You've probably heard this one before. The idea that Bitcoin is this secret currency just for criminals and spies? So, is there any truth to that?
Yeah, this is a huge one. This idea that Bitcoin is a secret, untraceable way to move money around. I mean, it makes for a great movie plot, doesn't it? But the reality is actually fascinatingly different. In fact, it's almost the exact opposite.
This slide right here gets to the absolute heart of it. The myth says Bitcoin is anonymous, but the fact is that it's pseudonymous. And you might be thinking, what on earth is the difference? Well, it's a huge difference. It means your real name isn't attached, but your public address is. And every single transaction connected to that address is public, permanent, and visible to all.
And honestly, this is the perfect way to think about it. Cash is truly anonymous. Once you hand it over, that trail can go cold pretty fast. Bitcoin, on the other hand, is like having a global digital checkbook where every single entry is public. It's actually one of the most transparent financial networks ever created.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. The data backs this up big time. When you look at global crypto activity, the amount linked to illicit use is, wait for it, 0.34%. That's it, a tiny, tiny fraction. The overwhelming majority, over 99.6%, is for completely legitimate reasons.
Now, let's move on to the next major myth, which is all about security. If Bitcoin is just digital, can't someone just hack it? Can't your money just disappear in an instant? It's a critical question, so let's explore the facts. And look, it's a totally understandable fear. If your money is just code, it seems like some brilliant hacker could just snatch it, right? The answer here is a little nuanced, and it all comes down to understanding the crucial difference between the Bitcoin network itself and how you personally access it.
So here's that crucial distinction. You might hear stories about crypto exchanges getting hacked. Think of that like a bank getting robbed. But the Bitcoin network itself, it has a remarkable, flawless track record. In its entire history, it has never been successfully hacked. We're talking about one of the most resilient computer networks ever built.
So what makes it a digital fortress? Well, first, it's protected by some seriously powerful math called cryptography. It's like an unbreakable code. Second, it's decentralized. There's no single server to attack or one company to shut down. It's everywhere. And third, that global team of computers is constantly verifying everything. So to cheat the system, you'd have to overpower thousands of them all at once. There's incredible strength in numbers.
So after busting those major myths, what is the real story here? Let's pull it all together and just summarize the key facts we've uncovered.
Okay, so if you're going to remember just a few things from our explainer today, let these be the ones.
Let's run through them. First, underneath all the hype, Bitcoin is a simple concept, digital money on a public ledger. Second, because that ledger is public, it's actually a pretty poor choice for criminals trying to keep a low profile. Third, the core network is incredibly secure, all thanks to its decentralized design. And finally, while it is a complex new technology with things to learn, its purpose isn't some big, sinister secret.
We've cleared up some of the biggest myths around Bitcoin, but every answer can just lead to a new question, right? So with this clearer picture in mind, what's the next thing you're curious about?
Thanks so much for joining me to break this all down.